Hello. I know I uploaded 2 videos last night, but also, it's been a long ass time since I uploaded some Vampire Jenny, and, I need to get to this. I needed to get around to this because, I do have the title for this one is just so good. The title for this section, I like phrasing it as a PSA on why we don't give motivated vampires bastard swords. Do you think she'd be able to hear us if we went outside? Nancy asked, to no one in particular. She really hoped they could have a private discussion about Jenny's self-destructive tendencies. I don't think it's a good idea to leave her in the house alone when she's like this. If she hears us, so be it, but she could be causing more damage to herself the longer we let her continue like this. Steve rebutted, worried about her. Just a week ago, she was dead, and now she was injuring herself. I'm more worried that she doesn't intend to live past 30, and she feels like us being friends with her is bad for us because we'd be unable to kill her if we needed to. She thinks it's an inevitability, Dustin fretted, pacing the kitchen with blustering worry. Why in the world would she think I would be able to kill her? She could snap me like a twig. Jason asked in utter confusion. He was terrified of her. She could kill all of them in a matter of minutes, and the rest of them seemed more worried about that she was suffering. She admitted to testing weaknesses on herself so they could stop her if needed. Jason was relieved that she had been doing it so the rest of them didn't have to put themselves at risk testing things. Because you aren't friends with her. She thinks you're more likely to stab her in a panic if she attacks. From you punching me in the face in the Creel house, I think that answer is yes, Lucas stated, like it should have been obvious. It should have been obvious. I haven't seen her this distressed since Starcourt, Mike commented, in an attempt to add to the conversation. Mike recalled the haunted expression on her face when she had seen them. Jenny had shaken it off quickly to help get the piece of the mind flayer out of Eleven's leg. Mike could tell she had seen something that scarred her based off of the brief flicker of horror on her face. He could see her eyes that she was already battling her own mind and probably a hero complex. The way she had rushed up to help Elle immediately, the way she tamped down the frantic mood from her frayed nerves, the way she engulfed her friends in a hug in an attempt to hide her tears. She was shaking from rage, fear, or relief, he couldn't tell. She was kind of out of it the rest of the week. Mike couldn't tell if it was from grappling with the scope of Starcourt or if it was the fact just that her parents were home, but none of her smiles reached her eyes that week. What got her to cheer up after Starcourt, then? Will suggested, chewing his nails. The prickly feeling on the back of his neck manifested again after her outburst. It wasn't the mind flayer or Vecna. Those feelings were distant, cold, and felt like some kind of abrasive slime sliding down his spine. This feeling was inundating him with pointed distress and oppressive waves of anxiety. It danced on the back of his neck with a fuzzy static shock. Whatever caused it was definitely close, as the sensation was almost as strong as when he came face to face with the mind flayer. Almond scampered up Will's leg and onto his shoulder, snapping him out of his thoughts. Over time, maybe Robin wasn't too far off with the party idea. If coming over at a moment's notice for 8 months tells me anything, she hates being alone, Steve added, looking at the squirrel with this concern. I think we could all tell that much from just the way she acts. Before she started babysitting, she was always either participating in the church's youth choir or in the library studying. She hates being alone, but cares about us enough to believe that she's a danger to us, Nancy postulated. I don't know if you've seen her with a sword, but she is definitely a danger. Not a danger to us, but still a danger, Mike remarked, flabbergasted at his sister's disregard for the devastating weapon they were helping to create by giving a vampire a sword and a cause to fight for. Jenny was ruthlessly effective in training herself with the sword she had dubbed Cassiopeia. Jenny had stated her reason for this as, "The one wielding it, me, is doomed to be underestimated and bring destruction to those who do not heed my warnings. That means you idiots deciding to stick around when I tell you to get away from me because I'm a vampire on a rampage. Being around me when I inevitably get possessed by the evil wizard we've been fighting for 2 years is not a good plan." Eddie had been impressed and said that the most powerful magic swords only had one-word titles, and Jenny had grinned and proclaimed that was good because she was going to be the one beheading the Lich. "How could we set up a party for her if she can hear us talking about planning it?" Eddie inquired, refocusing the conversation on cheering up Jenny. "Well, if surprising her isn't an option, how about we just don't surprise her?" Erica mused, slipping from her juice box in contemplation. "What kinds of things does Jenny like?" Jane urged, trying her best to participate in the discussion, but she felt a bit alienated. Jenny wrote to Will a lot, and at first she had wondered if his painting was for her. She later learned it was for Mike. Jane had read a few letters when she was waiting for Mike to write her back. Jenny seemed very nice and kept Will updated on what was going on in Hawkins. In one of the letters, Jenny started by asking about how Will was doing. She talked about how she was upset that she couldn't leave Hawkins because her parents weren't home. She sent a picture of her and Dustin with a picture of Will taped between them. It was really nice, and Will sent a picture of him and Jane with Jenny and Dustin taped in, back to Hawkins. She mentioned that she wanted to finish Back to the Future because some people disappeared in the middle of the movie and we had to go and find them giggling about Muppets in the mall bathroom. Erica supplied, with a glare directed at Steve and Robin. "She likes music. Maybe we could do karaoke," Lucas amended, trying not to get upstaged by his 11-year-old sister. "I got it. Henderson, Sinclair's, Byers, Little Wheeler. Let's step outside. I don't want Jenny overhearing this." Eddie piped up, shooting out of his seat. The kids he listed looked at each other in confusion, but followed him outside and a fair bit away from the house. "What if we got everyone together to play D&D, but the twist is, Byers and I work together on the campaign. I mean, she always plays barbarian for party balance, but she strikes me as more the type to play bard or cleric," Eddie proposed quietly, as an extra precaution to make sure Jenny wouldn't hear. "She has a bard character sheet on standby just in case she needs to sub in for me already prepped. I like the idea, but now that you actually know about the Upside Down, please never use Demogorgons or Vecna again. Unless you want her to turn it into a way to run plans for the final battle, keep the Upside Down out of the campaign," Dustin advised in a similar whisper. Eddie nodded to the rest of the group, who returned it, and they all went back inside. So, that's part 15, I think, of Vampire Jenny. So, that's it. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever time it is for you. Have a good time. Peace.